come in, we go, here's the music, they sit down, they play it, and we sing, and it's like magic. So thank you for having me here. I want you to know when a minister invites you onto their pulpit, they're saying, I trust you with my family. And so I'm grateful to be here.
Can you use that mic, please?
Sure.
So we can record you. We're recording up here.
Oh, should I
video.
sing in it too?
No, you can sing in that one, but this one for the talk. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Ooh, more sound. Okay. So, first thing I want to tell you is you're a masterpiece. You are divine light made manifest. You were so loved, the universe breathed itself into you and said, come to the planet at this time to bring your light, your gifts, your power, your expansive, expressive nature. Do you remember? That's the thing. You know, it's like, you did not come here to struggle. You did not come here to suffer. You did not come here to be under oppression. You came here to change the consciousness of the planet just by your existence. You don't have to do anything to be loved. You don't have to do anything to be special. You don't have to do anything to be valued or appreciated. Your very existence says all of that. So my topic today is I Choose Me. We did the workshop yesterday, and thank you for those of you that were here. We had a lot of fun. You know, thank you. There's a lot of heart and love in this community. So I wanted to tell you today that we're on the planet at a very interesting time. We are seeing and experiencing things that sometimes are mind-boggling and sometimes are challenging to our belief systems because it's so the antithesis of who we know ourselves to be. But what I want you to know is that choosing yourself, loving yourself, honoring yourself, what that is actually spiritual maturity. It actually moves you into a place where you lift your frequency, lift your vibration, and bring that energy into everything. Because there's a lot of discord. And I want to talk about that word for a moment. The C-O-R in discord comes from the French, meaning to be of the heart. So when you are in discord, you are disconnected from the heart. Heart Math, which I love their work, has done a lot of research, and they tell you that the heart is intelligent. It informs the brain, not the other way around. It's the first place that you can measure intelligence in an embryo. So if you are disconnected from your heart, you are disconnected from that intelligence that is guiding you, supporting you, oh, and by the way, supporting your body temple. So the definition says that discord is a lack of agreement among persons, groups, or things. Tension or strife resulting from a lack of agreement, dissension. Anybody notice that that's happening in our world this moment? So that discord is because we think we're different. We think we're separate, and we play on those things as opposed to understanding that every single one of us needs each other. Every single one of us are interconnected. I travel all over the world, and I just love being in different cultures and being with different people. You know, I was born African Methodist Episcopal. Say that twice really fast. And when I was a kid, I was like confused. I was like, well, if God is love, how come he's so mean? How come, you know, like we're in trouble all the time, of which I was a lot. So I go on a tour to sing, and I'm singing in Asia, right? And I'm in Singapore and Kuala Lumpur and Thailand, And I'm going into temples and places, and I'm like, how come I can feel God here if we're the only way? And so I'm like, oh. So I started asking questions, and I started seeking, and I started taking classes. And the more I travel, the more places I go, the more people I interact with, the more I understand we want the same things. We want to love. We want to be loved. We want to feel safe. We want to feel connected. We want to be taken care of. We want to take care of our children, you know? And we want to be on a planet, if we're awake at all, that's healthy. So the discord, though, is a way for us to move away from each other and to move away from the heart. And what I want you to know is you're in this room because something in you knows you're connected, that you're a spark of the divine, that you are here because you are essential on this planet. So I want to tell you what Eckhart Tolle says. You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. So one of the things I want to say to you is like, why are you here? You're not here to buy a house. You're not here to run a business. You're not here to lead people. You're here to discover, uncover, and absolutely bring your brilliant, powerful expression to life in its fullest. How many of you know that there's something calling you to be bigger, broader, expanding, more inspiring? Yes? So how come you're not doing it? I think the only reason we're not doing it fully is because somebody told us we couldn't. Somebody told us we weren't enough. Somebody told us we weren't important. Somebody told us that we were, incapable of doing things. How many of you have done things that people told you couldn't do? Yeah, right? So the thing is like, that's just a bunch of hooey. That's spiritual, right? Hooey. Ernest Holmes says, we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light, in a new life. So I've had many lives. I've been an actress. I was a singer. I opened for Jay Leno and at Harrah's. I was a waitress at Denny's. I've done a lot of stuff, right? And one of the things I did was I worked in corporate communications in a media management firm. And I worked for the head of corporate communications, and all the leaders went to New York. And they went for a big meeting, and it was 2001, and I was to be creating an event that we were going to do. And while they were there, 9/11 happened. There was only me and one other executive left. And, I was in bed when I get a phone call and say, look at the news. And so I throw on my clothes and I run into the office and I say to this other person, what do we do? And we're like, we don't know. We can't call anybody. There's no phones. So we decide to turn conference rooms into still places people could go and pray, people could go and be there with their stillness. And then I sent out an email that said, email me every church, mosque, synagogue, any place you know. We'll put it up on the internet so that people can know. And then we went to our second office, and we were with people. And one of the women at the second office, someone that she loved, worked in the towers, right? And so people were really grateful. That it was so loving. It was so interesting that, crisis can bring out the heart and the love with people, right? So it took a day or two for the phones to get back up, and my boss calls me, and she's in a state of, I'm going to call it pissosity. And she says, what are you doing? What are you thinking? We are not a spiritual organization. And when I get back, I want you to know that your job is in jeopardy. Y'all, I don't know what happened to me, but out of my mouth came, I am not afraid. If we can't love each other at times like this, then what are we doing? And she hung up. I was like, oh, well, pink slip. But the thing is I didn't get fired, and I think I didn't get fired because the employees were so grateful that there was love and presence and the opportunity for them to be with each other at a time that was so scary. I want you to know that there's a lot of stuff on the planet right now that's the same. You know, we're watching dictators all over the world. We're watching coronavirus. That we're watching, all this stuff that's happening. And the thing is, can we love each other through it? Can we hold each other through it? Can we lift each other through it? And can we be strong enough mentally, physically, spiritually, financially to stand in the truth no matter what the appearance? What I want you to know is that you are here because something about you is needed, not just in your own life, in your family, and in this community, but on the planet. You know that thing about where two or more are gathered, there's great power? I mean, where lots of us are gathered in consciousness and wholeness and lifting up the frequency, we shift consciousness. We shift the way people are separating. And, it's just fascinating to watch families arguing over politics. Really? You loved me yesterday. So I want you to know that getting clear, choosing yourself is getting clear about why you're here. The second thing I want to tell you is that you are not your history. I told the people yesterday, I come from a really violent, abusive childhood. And a lot of dysfunctional people in my family. And if I bought into that, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. I consider myself a miraculous unfolding because something took care of me. Something awakened me. Something guided me. And even when I thought I knew who I was going to be and what I was supposed to be, the universe would say, that's nice, honey. We're going to go over here. So I was an actress in Los Angeles, and I had a dream, and the dream was very out there. And I told my friend, who was a director, this dream, and she said, oh, this is a play. This is a one-woman show. And I was like, do you think so? She said, yes, so write it and I'll help you. So she's dramaturging and then she's helping me and we create, and the dream actually was my life, right? And it was from this kind of oppressive state to freedom. And and it came in the form, first of all, of a hand coming in, and so I called it the hand of God, right? So it was incredible. I did this, but then I had to get to the part where I was abused as a kid. And whenever we'd get to that part, shrinking Violet would come in, and I and she's like, listen, you can't be on, and then shut it down because of this. I was like, oh, I know, but I feel embarrassed and I feel ashamed. And she goes, get over it. So we did this play, and it traveled all over the country. And the thing about it, and that's what I want to tell you, is at the end of the play, people would stay in their seats. And so So the producer said, go out there and talk to him. I said, and say what? He said, I don't know, just go talk to him, right? So people would start asking questions because they would resonate with what happened to me, right? And so then I went to Minnesota and I did it, and they said, you need to do a workshop. I said, I don't know how to do a workshop. They said, figure it out because we're putting up a sign-up sheet. And 50 people came. Rich, poor, black, white, Hispanic, right? And so that was the beginning of What Will Set You Free, which is my book out there, the first book, and how I train coaches in this work. And I'm telling you that because it was during that whole experience that I understood that my history didn't define me. That everything I had been through did not take away from the wholeness and the perfection and the light that I am. It let me know that my only job was to be in integrity with my soul, with my essence. You know, integrity comes from the Latin word integer, you know, which is all about wholeness and oneness. So when you bless your history, you bless those interesting exes, I'll let that sink in. You bless those experiences where people didn't support you and didn't honor you and didn't nurture you, because guess what? They were your great teachers. They were the ones who said, oh, I'll meet you in 1955 and I'll be a pain and I'm going to teach you to stand for yourself. I'm going to teach you to love yourself. I'm going to teach you to honor yourself. I'm going to teach you how to really understand who you are and who you've come here to be. Then you can kick me to the curb. Your great teachers tell you every single thing has led to this moment. You get to choose. You get to choose the life that you want. You get to choose the loves that you want. I spent a lot of time recreating my childhood through relationships because a part of me thought that that's who I was and that's who I deserved. And that's what I deserved. And what I want you to know is the moment I woke up, I walked into a Science of Mind church, and there was this little black man on the stage whose name was Reverend Daniel Morgan. And I'd never seen anything like him. He had no notes. He was, just articulate and fabulous. And he said, listen, you are the captain of your ship. Nobody gets to sail your ship. You get to do it. You can change your life by changing your thoughts. And I was like beat up from a relationship, and I was like, really? Is that possible? Whatever you've been through, give thanks and bless it, because it's made you who you are today. I want to tell you also that you are a co-creator with the divine. Spirit needs you to express, to manifest. I want to tell you that Carl Jung said, I'm not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. And I want to tell you that Alan Cohen said, scared and sacred are spelled with the same letters. Awfulness proceeds from the same root word as awesome. Terrify and terrific, every negative experience holds the seeds of transformation. So you get to take every experience that you've had, every relationship, everything that has occurred in your life, and you get to use it to create and co-create. Quantum physicists say there's this quantum field, and in that field there's infinite possibilities. We call it the absolute. That you get to step into that field and you get to pick what you want to do to manifest and expand and express. And you get to do it with grace. You get to do it, understanding that there is a synchronistic universe that is always syncing up to what you say, what you think, what you believe. When you are in discordant behavior, you are now tapping into something in the field that is non-supportive, right? Because, electricity lives in the field. You can have light or you can electrocute yourself. So your thoughts, your words, your way of being, it affects the field. But when you are in sync with the universal oneness, the universe syncs up and creates things that are unexpected. So I was in acting school, and I was, this show called Star Search came on. And I sent my tape, and no one cared. And so 3 years later, I'm doing this showcase, and this woman comes up to me and says, "Hi, I'm looking for talent to be on Star Search in the acting category." I was like, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, come and audition." So I go and audition, and I get picked. So I won Star Search 7 times in a row. And then my worst nightmare happened. My competition was a beautiful little blonde, next-door looking girl. But I was already in the semifinals, so I didn't care, right? So I come back to the semifinals, and I win. I'm in the finals, and guess who my competition is? She's back. And so I'm in a dressing room with this woman she was a singer. She was in the finals for singing. She said, "We need to pray." I was like, "Good idea." And we were from totally different walks of life, but we're going to pray, right? And I, in that moment, I said, if I take my eyes off of that person, and I tap into my creative spirit, and I bring her to the planet and to that stage, then it's not up to me. I've done my best. So I was playing a librarian, a little against type, and she was all buttoned up, and and she's in the library, and in walks this gorgeous man who's delivering a stripper telegram. Telling you. and in the rehearsal, there was a line, and I kept kind of messing it up and stuff, and but I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it, and I'm rehearsing, and I'm sitting in the audience, and I'm like going over my lines, and producer comes and sits down next to me, and he says, "How you doing?" I said, "Okay, I'm a little nervous, but okay." So he says, "Why do you think you won all those times?" I said, "Because I'm a good actress." He said, "Mm-hmm. And every character that you brought was authentic because you brought you inside the character." And I'm thinking, and the point is? He said, "I just watched your run through, and I don't see you in that character. Maybe you should think about that." And he gets up and he walks away. I'm like, I'm gonna lose. I was completely thrown. But in that prayer, I thought, well, I can bring me. So we get up there and we're doing it. It's now, it's live, and he comes in and he starts taking off his clothes, and I screw up the line. But then I'm like, I'm like, I'm a librarian. This man is taking his clothes off in my library. And I just went with it, right? And so it's now time when they call us out, and and Ed McMahon has the $100,000 check, right? And by the way, I've had a bunch of names, so I'll tell you this part. So he says, and the winner is Cindy James Reese. I think I jumped up to the ceiling and back in about 1/10 of a second. But the thing was that I realized in that moment that that was a co-creation. That was me understanding who I was. That was Grace coming and sitting down next to me, called producer. That was me deciding to depend on God and bring my authenticity and to just go in the moment, because if you do theater, anything can happen on a stage, right? And when I look back over my life, there were so many of those times where angels showed up to give me information, open doorways for me, support me, to remind me that I'm a co-creator. Everything you need is at your fingertips. You have encoded within you everything that you need. Charles Fillmore said, faith working in spiritual substance accomplishes all things. This is the faith that cooperates with creative law. When faith is exercised deep in spiritual consciousness, it finds its abode. And under divine law, without variation or disappointment, it brings results that are seemingly miraculous. You are blessed and a blessing. I'm so grateful you're on the planet. Just the gathering here is a divine appointment. This group this way will never be together again. So we've come together to raise consciousness in this moment. So I'm going to ask you to uncross your legs. I'm going to ask you to sit back in your seat and feel your back on that seat. I'm going to ask you to gently close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you in this moment there may be someone or something that's challenging in this moment. I mean, it might be things that are happening on the planet. And I want you to just in this moment send blessings. Send blessings to that person. Send blessings to that experience, that event, that challenge. Send blessings to your spiritual community, to the city in which you live. Send blessings to this country. Send blessings to every country, every man, every woman, every child. Send blessings to this planet. Send blessings to yourself for your health, your well-being, your abundance, your freedom, your purpose being revealed. Send blessings. Because the truth is that you are blessed and you have always been blessed. Breathe that in. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. So in this moment, we recognize that there is one power, one presence, one life. We recognize that that energy, that presence, that life is revealing itself right here and right now. That energy is my life. It is the life of every person here. It is the life of everyone on this planet. And so we just give thanks for that truth. Knowing that right here, right now, there is nothing that separates us from the infinite. That there is nothing opposing God ever. Therefore, there is nothing opposing us. That we stand in the awareness that this truth is revealing itself in powerful ways. That this community is an example of love made manifest. And that we are a beacon of light going out to ensure and inspire and help remember and raise consciousness that love is the answer to every question. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, to stand in this truth, and to know that God's grace is the sufficiency of all, in all, as all, and through all. Breathe it in. Blessed always, blessed always, for the answer. God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. That we rest in God and say amen. And so we just take this breath in this moment as a collective to lift up our planet, to lift up people on this planet, to lift up anyone, anywhere that could be feeling in a discordant place. Because the truth is, we are the light in this world. We choose ourselves. We create spiritual mastery and absolutely claim and proclaim freedom for all. And so it is.